Hello all, this is Ramesh, Assistant Professor from the Department of Psychology. Today we are going to see about assessment process and the steps in assessment process. The assessment process is structured and a logical sequence of activities used by a psychologist to evaluate an individual's psychological functions. It combines different sources of information such as interviews, tests, observation, case study, and records. The purpose of this process is to ensure that the conclusions are based on the evidence and the professional reasoning rather than an individual's or an assessor's personal opinions or a guess. Through this process, the assessor uh, gains a complete knowledge about and accurate understanding about an individual. Step 2. Intake interview and rapport building. This step involves a planned interaction between the assessor and the clients to collect preliminary information about the client. Details about like personal history, current difficulties, and expectations are discussed in this step. Building rapport is essential because it creates a sense of comfort, trust, and it allows the client to communicate openly. This stage also helps the assessor to develop an early idea about the client's difficulty and its current issues. Step 3. Background informational review. In this step, the psychologist examine available records such as school reports, medical reports, and a person's behavioral history and legal notes. Reviewing this information helps us to identify long patterns and the recent changes in his behavior. It is also places a current problem within the border of context, and it also helps us to increase the accuracy depth of the assessment. Step 4. The assessment tools. Assessment tools are selected based on the referral concern and the individual characteristics. These tools may include such as intelligence test, personality inventories, behavioral scale, neurological assessment, and instruments can be scientifically sounded, culturally appropriate, and ethically suitable for the assessment. Selecting the right tools ensure the assessment results are meaningful, in-depth, and reliable. Step 5. Formal test administration. Formal test is carried out using standardized instructions and procedures. This ensures fairness and consistency across individuals. During testing, the examiner must observe the client's attention, motivation, and nonverbal cues, emotional response. Any variation in the administration can influence the results, making careful decision to proceed, making careful decision and procedures for essential. Step 6. Behavioral observation and formal assessment. Apart from formal testing, the psychologist observe the client's behavior, emotional reactions, interaction styles, and informal techniques such as checklist, um, sample of work, open-ended questions. This type of things help us to provide an additional insight into the client's everyday life, and this method helps us to explain the test results and reveal factors like anxiety, fatigue, and lack of effort during the assessment and in the sessions. Step 7. Collateral information collections. Information is also collected from people who interact with the clients daily in their daily life, such as parents, teachers, friends, supervisors, family members. This helps us to understand the behavior across the individuals in different situations and also in different settings. Collateral information increase the completeness and the credibility of the assessment and its findings. Step 8. Scoring and interpretation. Test responses are converted into standardized scores and compared with norms. Interpretation involves combining test scores, interview data, observation, behavioral observation, nonverbal cues, and background information of the client. The psychologist looks for consistent trends, strengths, weakness, limitations, and unusual patterns in his behaviors. Interpretation is meaningful when it is address the original purpose of the assessment of the client. Step 9. Conclusion and report writing. Based on all gathered information, the psychologist develop a summary profile of the individuals. A formal assessment report is written, outlining the methods used in the assessment and the result update and recommendations for the client. The report should be clear, unbiased, and useful for planning, intervention, support strength, and treatment planning for the client. And the final step, feedback and summary of the process. The final step involves sharing the assessment result in a supportive, understandable manner. Feedback helps the individual and the stakeholders, relatives of the clients, understanding the findings and take appropriate actions regarding that. This steps ensures ethical practice, encourage cooperateness, and implementing recommendation for future users. This is the final step. That's all for today's class. In this class, we get to know about the process in assessment, what are the steps involved in assessments, what are the ethics that we need to follow, how to write a report, what are the things we need to get concerned to write a report of the clients. Thank you.